You agreed with me. Predators is bad, right, guys? Thank you. You agreed with me.
Why were the 90s so great, you guys? Oh my god. Sonic the Hedgehog, Blaze processing, skateboards, and attitude.
Blast processing.
Tell me how.
Actually, no, you're wrong. Shut the fuck up. Blast processing came up with the Sega Genesis. That was first. But then, either the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis 32X or possibly the Sega CD came out with Blaze processing. All of this was in the 90s.
A lot of the letter X everywhere, just extreme, but with an X.
Extreme spelled correctly, just with a bigger X.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even need the fucking E. You just do the X and then
Just sometimes the X, man. X, man.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need that E. That E just takes the space.
What a time to be alive that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, comics in the 90s, that was definitely extreme. That was Cable, and I mean, actually good characters, but I mean, the whole Rob Liefeld drawing everyone with, like, no feet.
And a bunch of
huge
pouches.
chests, and a ton of pouches. Everyone had a lot of pouches on them. A lot of guns, a lot of pouches.
All right, gentlemen. I think it's my turn for the intro. So,
Wait.
I don't remember. I think
I did it on Tuesday.
Yeah, so it is my time. All right.
No, I go after Matt.
So I go after.
Everyone goes after Matt.
No, remember, like, when we first started doing this, I was doing it on Tuesday.
Then you would do the first one on Saturday, and Matt would do the second one on Saturday. It goes me, you, Matt.
All right. I don't remember. We need to write this shit down.
Hello and welcome to the Garage Bar Podcast. We are a group of guys used to hang out every week, sometimes a couple times a week, in a bar in a garage. And eventually we grew up and moved away, and so now the Garage Bar has moved online, and we are now in the digital realm of the Garage Bar Podcast. I am Rick Roulet, and tonight I'm drinking another Radler, or another, I think it's a Shandy. This is lemonade mixed with the Bosun Double IPA. Extra strong. Lemonade and beer, my friends. It's very refreshing.
It's very refreshing.
Double IPAs are like extra hoppy and bitter, so the lemonade sort of smooths it out. But it's very refreshing.
It's very refreshing.
I cannot recommend Shandies and Radlers highly enough. Matt, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Matthew Reyes. Tonight I am taking a little trip to Italy. I'm having a Peroni Nastro Azzurro. It's pretty good, a little skunky, but European beers.
Just like any good Italian would be.
Yeah, just like my men. Kind of weak and skunky. Yeah, it's good. It gets you drunk. That's the important thing. Jacob, who are you? What are you drinking? What are you? Why are you?
I think just to clarify, Matt, I think that is starting to become your catchphrase. It gets you drunk.
It gets you. That's not much. That's a Chappelle thing. I can't go on. I made that up, guys.
It's Jake T. Snake here. I am drinking Bruige West, their Picnic Lightning Hazy IPA. Bruige, it's hard to say. They are over in San Pedro. Do you say San Pedro or San Pedro?
I say San Pedro.
But their brewery is located in San Pedro, and I recommend going in there and enjoying the rest of their selection once, we have a vaccine, I guess.
Once we have a vaccine. Once we can start developing series of vaccines for the multiple strains of COVID that we'll inevitably have to deal with.
Yep.
Yeah, the world.
Did you see that China has that, I guess they reported a new strain just recently over
Son
at
of
the
a
Wuhan,
bitch. Are they eating
at
more
the
bats?
Wuhan market.
Stop it.
Yeah, no, it was at the same market, and they said it wasn't because they closed that market down, or they're at least trying to. They said that this new strain, though, is a European strain. I think they're just saying that just to blame it on someone else this time.
Who knows? I mean, it may have mutated in Europe, right? Like, it could have been the COVID that we all know and love, and have now mutated into what they've just discovered by spreading through humans in Europe.
This is now COVID classic. Use of real sugar.
This is
The
new
delicious
COVID.
taste of new COVID.
They have to market this.
Yeah.
Extreme COVID.
Yeah. The party edition.
Yeah, they can have Spuds McKenzie come back and old people riding skateboards to promote this new COVID.
Yes. It was also the golden age of television animation.
Oh yeah. I think we've already hit on that little tidbit with the Batman animated series and the X-Men animated series. The X-Men, I just recently was rewatching some of those episodes. I'm like, oh, this is really deep for a child to be watching.
You know what? You know why they were both so good is because they started to take stories from the comics. They stopped like just doing like, oh, the Super Friends go and try to stop a rocket or something. Like they actually took like they adapted like stories from the comics, like fucking Chris Claremont's like X-Men and like just classic fucking Batman stuff. They you know, and those are made not just for kids, so
Did
they're
they
kind
actually
of
get
deep
comic book
sometimes.
writers to write the episodes too, or did they just
I
use
mean,
the story from the
you know,
comic?
Paul Dini and people like that, but like oh, what's his name? Not Dan Abnett. But I mean, occasionally they would get like James DeMontis, who's actually, you know, a comic book writer. It was just the start of like them kind of starting to realize that the comic book stories themselves are pretty damn good.
Yes, also Disney. Disney has
Yeah.
some great cartoons in the 90s. Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Chip and Dale.
The Goofy movie?
The Goofy movie was a good movie. Like,
No, it was good. I like that.
I mean, Goof
I
Troop
know,
as
I
a
did
show
too.
was a little bit of a
Watered down
rehash.
version.
I mean, it was almost like DuckTales without the cool fucking treasure hunting part. It's just like Huey, Dewey, Louie hanging out in suburbia.
There was a DuckTales movie too, where they found the magic lamp.
Yeah, the Treasure of the Lost Lamp.
Right. That was,
But like when you look at those shows, you can see like a lot of influences, like a lot of adult influences. DuckTales is what actually got me interested in Shakespeare and Sherlock Holmes, right? But at the same time, Darkwing Duck, he narrates his own life and is sort of obsessed with alliteration because of V for Vendetta. I went and rewatched Tiny Toons a few years ago, and I was surprised to see like written on the blackboard in the back of the classroom or in the front of the classroom, just like, you know, in the background, as the scene was occurring, it says, "Who watches the Watch Ducks?"
Jesus, man. A lot of Alan Moore fans back in the day.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. The cartoons of the day, even when they weren't like comic book based cartoons, they were taking like serious literary references. They were also pretty fucking verbose.
Yeah, I mean, Chippendale's Rescue Rangers had that Hound of the Baskervilles episode.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, obviously, yeah. Wasn't old Mac? What was it? They didn't Macbeth, but it was old MacDuck, or what was it?
What are you talking about?
This is the tale. It was like Scrooge's. It was like Shakespeare's lost play, but it was actually like the tragedy of old
Oh,
MacDuck or
yeah.
something.
It was. Yeah, it was something old MacDuck who cheated and lied and ran amok.
Right. Yes. It was. Turns out Scrooge's great ancestor was like a yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they made any real claim to it being related to Scrooge. It was just like the guy's name was McDuck. And
There
then
was also
in the
Oh, go ahead,
end,
sorry.
like everybody agreed to bury the play because it was like because they discovered it on an island full of people who were like descended from actors who worked with Shakespeare, and so they kept the
Yeah.
tradition alive. And when they
Was his
finally
name like
found the play,
Duckspear or something like that?
they put on the production. It was William Drakespeare.
Oh, even better.
When they found the play, they put on the production, and then like at the end of it, they were all like, "This is awful. We should just agree to
This was
never
buried for a
release
reason,
this."
man.
Which is pretty
What was
funny
it?
because
Really,
like
what was the one where they found like the conquistador like ship like in the desert, and they were like, "What the? How is this here?" And it was like because the monsoon had brought it there, and I don't know. It was a really like intricate plot where it was like they had a map of the ship like made of chocolate. I don't know how this whole happened. This sounds like
yeah,
random
no,
shit, but it was
what you're
really
talking
good.
about was the like that was the pilot. It was like a 4 or 5 episode story arc that was what kicked off the show.
Hmm.
The Treasure of the Gold Suns.
Oh, Rip Taylor was the voice of the genie. By the way, that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
think of. God rest his gay soul.
Yeah.
Well, I was always a Tailspin fan.
I like Tailspin too. I think when
did
Tailspin came out, it instantly became my favorite Disney cartoon. Like I
I like the
immediately
fact that
liked
they
it better than
took like kind of
DuckTales.
a Cheers parody. He was a dude that ran his own company, kind of like Sam Malone, and then this businesswoman named Rebecca
Mm.
came in, who he called Becky, and she was kind of she took
Uptight
over his
and
company, and it was like, will they, won't
responsible.
they? Yeah, will they, won't they? Type thing. I was like, oh, this is like Cheers, Jesus Christ.
And then who was Norm?
Well, he did go to a bar. That was Louis' bar, so there was no heck. He was Norm. He was Sam and Norm at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
yeah, no, it was great because like it wasn't a straight ripoff. They just took elements and then
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm saying it was. It was just like, Saw some similarities.
But Lou, in the context of Louis' Bar, was definitely Norm. Like, everybody knew his name.
Did you guys watch Adventure Time?
I have the first season on iTunes. I have watched it.
Man.
I watched the first 4 seasons of it.
But there's so much stuff in that show. Like, I can't even remember the stuff that I watched.
There was
that show does get heavy.
Yeah, this is like super duper heavy. Like there was the flashback episode where like the guy that became the Ice King was taking care of Marceline as a little girl as she's getting sick, probably turning into a vampire. Like during the apocalypse, when there's like these weird creatures, kind of zombies, and he's like he puts on the Ice King crown, which is slowly turning him into a crazy whatever. It's turning him to the Ice King, but he's like a guy, and he brings himself back to reality by like humming the Cheers theme song as he's like fighting, and he's like dun 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 dun. He's fighting back this his brain turning to mush to bring back to reality because he has to take care of this little girl. But he sings the Cheers theme song to himself to get himself back. It's fucking great.
I thoroughly enjoy Adventure Time. I need to continue to watch that. They have all the episodes on Hulu, so
I'll try. All the episodes on HBO Max.
Oh, did they? To get back onto the topic of the '90s, though, with all the cartoons, because I was always a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously, and I like the Muppet Babies. I don't know.
I like the Muppet Babies too, but that was '80s.
Was it the '80s?
Yeah.
Or I think. Well, I probably watched a lot of the reruns then.
Ninja Turtles started in the '80s, but it kept going into the '90s, I think.
Muppet Babies was that. I mean,
fucking Ninja Turtles lasted like forever.
Kind of the joke of like when you're out of ideas, you just make them babies.
Muppet Babies was the source of that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, that show was actually good. They had like kind of live action like crossover things and some like weird imagination.
Well, they inserted the Muppet characters into clips of real live action movies.
Yeah.
It was actually clever, and I think it was just like everyone was like, "Oh, that." You know, we can just do that. We just do
make them babies,
babies. Wasn't there The Simpsons when they met Alan Moore at a signing, and of course Alan Moore, who hates like all his characters becoming corporate, and Milhouse goes, "Hey, can you sign my copy of Watchmen Babies?" And it was like the story was called V for Vacation, and they were all on each other's shoulders surfing. And he goes, "Oh God!"
But yeah, Muppet Babies was actually a good show. I mean, I don't know. I was a kid when I was watching it. Like, I assume you were too.
Yeah, for sure.
There was probably like 10 years apart.
Yeah.
But like, it was a really good show, at least for kids. I don't know if I could stand it now.
Yeah, I probably would be able to watch it now, but I just remember enjoying watching that over and over again. And then with animation, I mean, yeah, all the animated shows like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs and all that was great, but I also really enjoyed the live action shows, man. That was that golden age of like Seinfeld, and I was always huge into the X-Files. X-Files was my fucking shit in the 90s. So
yeah, I don't know. X-Files started out great, but like I quickly got sick of it.
Well, it spiraled.
The 90s was also a time when everyone was obsessed with aliens and alien abductions.
Yeah.
Thanks to the X-Files.
Yeah.
Fire in the Sky and all that shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fire in the Sky. That
the
movie freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, that fucked me up when I was a kid.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's what I know about you, Matt. The eyeball thing. Fire in the Sky has that scene with the fucking needle going to the guy's eye.
Yeah, that's awful. I can't do that. You know what also did? Obviously, Unsolved Mysteries. Even the beginning, still as an adult, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, but who was the host of Unsolved
Robert
Mysteries?
Stack.
Yeah, that guy scared the shit out of me.
Coming out of the fog in his trench coat, and you're like,
ah! Always foggy. Everywhere he was at, there was always
Robert
fog.
Stack just brings fog. Yeah, but like the opening theme song, like, and they had like pictures of like aliens and murderers and ghosts, and just like, oh god.
No, it scared the shit out of me. I hated it so much.
I don't know.
I was gonna tell you. You know, I've been working out to Batman the Animated Series, right?
Yeah.
The last episode of Batman I watched was The Return of Batgirl, and in The Return of Batgirl, the beginning starts off as like either a dream sequence or a daydream or something, where Barbara is fantasizing about returning as Batgirl. So there's this quick little hook where, oh yeah, we're fighting crime and blah, 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 and then we beat the bad guys. And then she dreams about hooking up with Batman.